Before you embark on the immensely satisfying job of metal polishing, you should understand that 3 stages are involved. These are Stage 1, abrasive finishing, Stage 2, bright finishing, and Stage 3, colouring. Following these 3 stages properly will produce highly pleasing results. You can carry out the process almost anywhere, in a room, a workshop, a garage, even a garden shed. All you need is a Cetem polishing kit and an ordinary electric drill, like the one shown here. If you want to be more adventurous, you can use a heavy industrial type drill mounted on a stand, available from most industrial tool shops. The kit contains 3 tubs of abrasive grit, coarse, medium and fine, 1 bottle of water-soluble cement, 3 polishing mops for coating with the abrasives, 2 bars of polish, coarse and fine, 3 polishing mops, coarse, medium and fine, 1 drill adapter, 1 dust mask and catalogue with full instruction leaflets. Let's start with Stage 1. There are 3 containers of abrasive grit and 3 coloured stitch mops. The first step is to prepare the abrasive mops. You pour some boiling water into a container, say a margarine tub. You then use a brush to apply the water onto the edge or periphery of the mop. This is to lay the edge, so that the cement to be applied next will stick better. Next, mix a little cement supplied with the kit with water to make a weak solution, 2 parts cement to 1 part water. All 3 mops should be treated this way and left to dry overnight. This can be speeded up by placing them in an oven at no more than 20 degrees centigrade, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 1 hour. Don't overdo the heat. Sprinkle the abrasive powder from the fine container onto a newspaper. The hard mops can now be treated with the neat cement painted onto the edge of the mop. Make sure that the cement is applied well into the mop edges so that the whole surface edge of the mop is covered. The remaining cement can be returned to the bottle after you've finished using it. Now, roll the mop into the fine abrasive and, holding it centrally between thumb and forefinger, roll it well into the abrasive so that the layer of cement becomes well impregnated with the abrasive grit. Do this with the fine abrasive first, then the medium and then the coarse. This is to prevent the grits from becoming contaminated by each other. When finished, you can pour the abrasive grit back into its own container. As before, the mops are left to harden overnight, or put the mops in the oven to speed things up. When the mops are set hard, stand them on their edges and hit them sharply with a hammer. This crazes the surface and stops them clogging. Again, hold the mop between thumb and forefinger, moving it around an inch at a time while bringing the hammer down smartly. Do this just enough to crack the surface. This is better seen on the second example. You should now have 3 abrasive scurfing mops. A mandrel supplied with the kit is fitted into your drill, and the first abrasive coated scurfing mop is threaded on. All stitched mops have leather washers in the centre. This is just threaded onto the mandrel. The drill is then started up, and the article to be polished is held against the rotating mop, applying firm, even pressure. Move the article up and down and across at 90 degrees. It is wise to use the dust mask supplied. You should also use eye protection to protect yourself from the dust and debris that flies around. On the motorcycle mudguard stage shown here, you would start with a coarse scurfing mop for removing pitting, damage or old chrome. Take care not to put a chamfer on mating surfaces, and take special care of flat surfaces and bosses where washers or gaskets are to be used. You can use all the grades of the scurfing mops depending on how rough the article is before you go on to polishing proper. The aim of polishing is to obtain a mirror finish. This is achieved by scratching the surface to a finer and finer degree. This is done first with the abrasive scurfing mops if necessary, and secondly with the polishing mops and polishing compounds. The job requires a lot of patience. Now let's start with the polishing process. There are 3 main types of stitched polishing mops: open-stitched for finishing and general purpose use, close-stitched for scurfing and roughing, and very close-stitched for heavy-duty work. The Cetem kit only uses high-quality industrial mops like those shown here. Shall we now go on to stage 2, finishing. For this stage, you use a coarse aluminium-based polish, plus a sisal or stay-pole stitched mop. This is a hemp or string-type fibrous material interleaved with coarse calico cloth and very closely stitched. The polishes come in square bars and have to be applied to the polishing mops whilst they are rotating. The bar is held firmly but not heavily against the mop for just 1 or 2 seconds. That's usually enough for covering it. With a new mop, you can hold it on for 3 to 4 seconds to put more polish on, as there is nothing on to start with. Too much polish on the mop will result in dumping. This is seen by long black streaks appearing on the article being polished. Excess polish on a mop can be removed with a wire brush, However, the sisal mop may need several applications of polish at first to help it bed down. Pieces of the mop will start to fly off until the mop has been thoroughly impregnated with polish. It will soon settle down, and the polish is then applied more sparingly in the normal way. This applies to the sisal mop only. As with abrasive finishing, work the article to and fro and from side to side. As the polish disappears from the article, you can apply a little more to the mop, just a second or two as before. Remember, little and often. If the marks don't come out, go back to the abrasive stage, applying a little light grinding grease to the fine skirting mop before starting the polishing again. When polishing, apply plenty of pressure. It melts the polish and makes it work properly. As with the previous stage, it does take patience. Again, take care with mating edges, bosses, etc. Finally, we come to stage 3, the colouring stage. For this, we use a white open stitch mop and a white finishing calcined alumina-based polish. It is a less closely stitched mop and a much softer material, giving great flexibility. The secret, as before, is to apply it little and often, no more than 1 or 2 seconds at a time. Hold it lightly to the mop. This mop does not require the same amount of polish when new as the sisal mop. Too much polish will result in dumping. Remember the long black streak? As you go through the polishing process, you will use less and less pressure. This applies to both the abrasive and polishing processes. You then finish off by buffing off, using a very soft open calico loose-leafed mop, which is not stitched at all. This mop is so soft that hardly any pressure is needed. It does give a most satisfying sheen to the work. Obviously, all mops wear with use until they are too small. The unstitched ones flop over, but they can still be used right down to the leather washer. If you wish to improve the finish even more, a soft calico mop can be used with a lime-based polishing compound, such as Peerless. It gives a brilliant, smear-free, clear finish. After a while, your mops will need cleaning to remove the metal and caked polish which has loaded onto them. Mops are easily cleaned with a stiff wire brush drawn slowly across at a diagonal. Don't use a cheap brush, as the bristles can be forced out, making it not only inconvenient but dangerous. The Cetem supply a proper double-handled industrial brush for this purpose. There are bound to be nooks and crannies where a mop cannot reach. You can get felt bobs and fingers in various shapes and sizes to deal with this. Here are some of the types Cetem supply. They can be coated or used with loose abrasive, mixed with a little water, oil or white spirit to make a grinding paste. They remove pitting, as in abrasive finishing, or they can be used with the polishing compounds to produce a bright finish. To stop the finished article from further corrosion or tarnishing, you can either lacquer it, or, as we recommend, apply a wax-based polish, such as Belgum Alu, shown here. This will provide protection for up to 8 weeks. Whenever you clean your newly polished parts, give them a polish with Belgum Alu. Cetem materials and compounds are exactly those as supplied to the plating and polishing trade. Our polishing kits are exhibited to buyers in all fields of activity. We exhibit at shows, exhibitions and selected auto jumbles all over the country. Cetem also produce a fully illustrated catalogue and a technical polishing manual. You can order our kits, materials, catalogue and manual over the phone or by mail order from Cetem Polishing Supplies, 23 Plaistow Avenue, Hodge Hill, Birmingham, B36 8HQ, England, or telephone 021 786 1840. For the catalogue, just send 75 pence, and for the manual, £2.95, postage and packing inclusive.